Clips.
And remember, citizens, always subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well. And $19.95 plus shipping and handling will keep you out of hell. Hell. Oh, nighty boob tubes. Another one of Kip's clips. So, meant to be doing the Kip and Crossman and Kip cast later on, but Crossman's not available to 4 bells, and I've got a date tonight. I'm taking my ma to the cinema, so I need to be in the town for about 5 bells. So I need to leave about 4. So, anywho, I thought I would do a little shindig. Just sitting about, listening to some of the jibber jabber. Constant jibber jabber coming out from all the... For some reason, the BBC has had this guy on constantly. The dude for Strathclyde Uni. So we can go and listen to a wee bit of the jibber jabber coming out from the local erections. Now, the reason I call them local elections is because no matter who wins, it's a prick in charge. Boom, boom, boom. So, I'm also want to go and check out. Now, granted, I did hear, I have heard but forgot, but I did hear the blah guy on, is it Talk or GB News? I can't remember. And he was talking about the turnouts. It's in fact, sorry, he started with the premise: should voting be made mandatory? And the reason he said should reaction, Laurie, how you doing, my man? And the reason he said should voting be made mandatory is because the turnout is so low, which you'll need to go and check on, and the facade that democracy scam holds over us all. Remember, having a voting process isn't unique to the democracy scams and the way the democracy scams of the West are modelled on. You're not allowed to think about that, you know. Don't think about that. Just line up and vote. And the blah guy was talking about should voting be made mandatory? Because this is the turnout is a threat to our democracy. Because the facade that democracy scam that is the sells to us that it's ruled by majority has slipped. These fucking cretins, the politicians doing the politicking, all they need to do is lie to enough house niggers to get their votes in. That's it. And that's what they do. That's why every politician standing up in front of you sounds fucking like the best thing since sliced bread. Anywho, right, so
2017, he was the anti-politician. This is
BBC Labour wins London Mayor, or Tommy Robinson and his cohorts will be fucking raging because there's a muddy in charge of our capital.
Non-politician. All of his campaign this time round has been very much it's about
their capital,
not the party.
No, my capital.
You know, like I say, successfully distanced himself from the Conservative Party. His leaflets are green.
Seriously find it really hard to listen to any politician talk. It's like it's almost as frustrating as listening to Russell Brand. Like, just say something. Well, you see, look, I put it to you. It's like fucking lawyer speak. I remember I was in court once, man, and this lawyer's like to me, fucking questioning me and all that. And she went, I put it to you. Right, and I just sat there. Like, wait, is that a question? I had her fucking flapping. Boom, boom. Had her on the ropes, man. Stupid little biatch. I mean, fucking straight out of fucking nursery school, man. Like that. Fucking illegal jibber jabber like that here. Come on. It's plain English, motherfucker, man. Instead of all this flowery language trying to fucking use a million words when you can use 2. Jibber jabbers.
As I say, you know, he's played down his sort of. He always says he's a proud conservative.
Water cannon used in it.
The
Oh my God!
Like, and I think it's interesting.
Let's take a break from the local erection. And
indefinitely.
Well, as far as the Philippine Coast Guard is concerned,
they hit me with the water gun,
American
matters. That's what a big water gun.
Precarious game of cat and mouse. Do you accept that
A game of chicken, biatch. It's been happening in the South China Sea. Now it's extended to the East China Sea, but hey, nothing to say here. 1984, we have never been at war with Eurasia.
may fail as a small nation compared to the bigger country like China? But this is not just.
But we're on Americans, but we're a hair on the bollocks of America.
Countries like Australia, Japan, United States, the G7
All the gimps.
countries,
All the gimps
make a collective
of America
action to make China fall in line, respect the international law. Otherwise, it's everybody's loss.
Okay, right, so China needs to obey international law, Israel doesn't. Is there any hypocrites in the house?
You're watching Sky News Today, coming up. As Labour sources claim Sadiq Khan has won the London mayoral contest, and we wait.
Sources claim.
West Midlands and Manchester will have all the very latest on the local elections.
Do you feel empowered? Do you feel empowered? Do you think your vote is going to change this country for the better? Who's this wee hottie?
My boyfriend was there to help.
Oh, fucking hell, man. I'm trying to think of this. Why is this shit making it onto the news? Call me sceptical. I don't think it's because they're scared and they want to protect women. I don't think they're doing it for the health of the nation. Something else going on here. I can't quite figure it out. Because shit don't get on the news by accident or by the goodness of some cunt's heart. You know, there's people dying fucking 10 to the dozen every second, and the news highlights ones that has a fucking good heart story to it. And
To face any of the repercussions.
no, in fact, let's go. Nope, not go there.
More religious a little bit.
It's got to be about Gaza.
So
Press
we will
TV.
see more martyrdom operations.
Martyrdom! To the death!
Occupation in
Examples of martyrdom in the Jewish faith, if that concept even exists.
I myself am a convert to Islam, and I grew up in a Jewish background. Although I
was self-hating Jew. He's a self-hating Jew.
On the religion itself, mostly after I accepted Islam, and on my websites, one of
Come on, get your shit together, fucking Press TV, man. That's just pathetic. We have a man on. No qualifications other than he was a Jew, now he's a muzzy.
The O2 Arena
I was going to,
was the Millennium Dome,
yes,
and that was, you know, that was plagued with teething problems at the beginning, wasn't it? And they practically had to close it down, and then it was reinvented as the O2 Arena, which is kind of weird, seeing as you can't get mobile phone reception in there. But anyway, the O2 Arena it is. People go there. It's a respective venue.
I've been there several times now. Actually.
It's quite an experience with all the shops and the restaurants.
I went there also to see that. You know me and ABBA. I went to see that ABBA show where you sit in the restaurant.
The Mamma Mia party.
The mindless drivel. It's an here's the island. Immigrant route
to Europe is a risk in economic terms, in security terms.
Remember GB News? The People's Channel. I've been fined umpteen times for letting Jacob Rees-Mogg, Jacob Rees-Mogg, whatever his fucking name is, the demon headmaster, fighting. It's beyond me how working class people put that fucking freak on a fucking pedestal, man. He has duped everybody. Him and Nigel Vadge, they've attached themselves to particular topics.
And had some kind of economic agreement that had deals on borders. Well, I think we had that.
Benjamin, I worked in Brussels for 3 years. I was in the room when you had council meetings. I was in the room.
Hijacked popular topics and topics of concern for your average person and championed them as if they're the only people worrying about it, going to do something about it, etc., etc. And that's what they've used to mobilise the great unwashed to vote for fucking fucking hoity-toity pricks that look down their nose at the great unwashed. It's not that complicated.
But it's triggering a situation that can be mobilised, utilised, to then say, right, we have a problem. We are going to invite you all to London to discuss it. You couldn't do that if you were in the EU. You simply couldn't. Legally, you couldn't.
The Foreign Secretary, David Cameron, said last week that the reason that we don't have a deal to exchange migrants
who's this
because
guy?
of Brexit.
Well, he's talking out of his... Excuse me.
Benjamin Butterworth. I don't know about you. When I was at school, hanging about the streets and all that, I used to meet hundreds of Benjamin Butterworth.
Enable us to send people back to France are factually wrong. Dublin 3 enables us to send people back to the EU country that they'd entered the EU through if we could identify it, if that country agreed, and if we'd given them 3 consecutive opportunities to appeal. The numbers were minuscule, and we ended up taking more than we were
The Illuminati is onto me.
Which is very much in the EU, you know, they're not able to say, here you go, back to France with you.
Well, obviously what the Irish government is saying is that they want to send these people back to the United Kingdom. We've said no because the United Kingdom has said we want to send them back to France, and France has said no. So you've definitely got a stalemate in this scenario. And I think it's totally legitimate that we refuse to take them because you're seeing the same thing. You know, that Ireland and France are both part of the EU, and it's an EU decision to
Benjamin.
It's not an EU issue.
No, it's that when we were in the EU, we were
The People's Channel, everybody. How the fuck they've managed to
what I would say about the idea that Ireland should join the Rwanda
dupe
well, there was a lot of headlines
the kind of working class.
the local elections.
It's not beyond me. It's a very obvious fucking trick. Just like Tommy Robinson, you know, he's the appropriated paedophilia. So he's the only, according to him and his cult, he's the only person that cares about paedophilia.
Is the one that I described earlier, and you can't have both.
And
thank you very much, Benjamin.
GB News has attached himself to all the little Englander causes, you know, scared of the brown man and all that kind of shit.
For your company.
For political reasons.
Don't go anywhere though, because there's plenty more coming up on GB News today. In just a moment, it's Fiery Debate with Nana Aquia, and at 6 p.m, I'm back, you lucky lot. So it's
hopefully she got some sleep last night, man. How the fuck she ever made it onto TV, I do not know. She's not a particular great character, presenter. She's not really getting even like controversial or interesting views. She's kind of like fucking. She's just a token black that GB News flung in there.
Your latest weather for GB News. It's a mixed outlook, largely cloudy over the next 24 hours, particularly across the north of the UK. Best of the sunshine.
Well, I've got my tan for the summer. I get sunburnt on Thursday, so I'm not always happy.
Bringing some heavier rain through a bank holiday.
Tell you what, man, Glasgow is some city. 2 nights. One old man's boozer right in the middle of a hipster's paradise with hundreds of students thrown into the mix, man. It's such a good mix of fucking people, man.
Who last time round, or now the time before last, won by
last night,
miles. He had more than
chatting to 72-year-old, 70 fucking 2, sitting chatting shit at the bar. Next thing he's telling me he's got a poncho on for the. This is before he told me his age. Next thing I know, he's telling me he's got a poncho on for a wee bit of the sniff.
At a general election. So there's a
I'm like, fucking hell, mate, 72. Yeah, I've been battering it for fucking years, man. Next thing I know, man, we're fucking getting a wee charger in the toilet and all that. The night before as well, old boy sat down, fucking just started chatting. Next thing he's out with the bag, like dishing out fucking half bottles of El Dorado, which is a cheap version of fucking Buckfast. Which one of them gets smashed out in the fucking... It's a beer garden. It's a fucking table and chairs outside, but gets smashed outside. Along with another couple of glasses, and then a Ukrainian cunt turned up. There was a Ukrainian guy who was a puppet voice dude. I don't even know the exact... A puppeteer, I suppose, but I don't think he done the puppeteering. I think he just done the voices.
Of weather fortunes. Yesterday, Scotland and Northern Ireland had lots of sunshine and warm weather, with temperatures peaking at 23 degrees Celsius. Not so much today. There was a lot
this is
cloudy,
going to be the
cooler,
top of
and
our
sun, that means
news.
a drop of about 9 degrees Celsius between yesterday's warm sun.
Because it's going to be the top of our news, I'm going to bounce over on
A very interesting
RTs.
conversation.
All right, Santa.
That's the final
Cheers
show
from
of the
Santa.
season. We're back very soon, but until then, we'll be broadcasting some of your favourite episodes of the season. You can still keep in touch via all our social media.
I think it's already said.
To our channel, Going Underground TV on
I need to go out for 4 and
Continue
Crossman
with all
isn't
episodes
available
Going
to 4,
Underground.
so I just thought I would
Condolences
fucking fire this
to those
on.
bereaved by UK, US, EU armed bombing in Palestine,
for a
Lebanon,
couple of hours.
Yemen, Syria, and Iraq. We'll see you very soon.
And ask the question, what was the turnout? Turnout for the UK. UK local elections. Turnout.
Ukraine never transitioned out of the 90s. The kind of chaotic politics of the 90s continued all the way through. Yeah, and of course, the other thing that Ukraine never had, they never had a Putin. So she covered
minimum for all
a certain stability, a certain power of state.
Right, I'm just going to try and take this on face value, right? I'm not pretending that I fully understand how they're breaking this down.
Today, a sheriff's deputy in Columbia, South Carolina,
West Midlands,
from a
local
classroom in
authorities,
Spring Valley High
minimum,
I saw him
mean,
just talking
maximum.
to her, whispering to her, and initially, you know, I didn't think it was a problem because I
percentage
knew
of
that
all.
she was just this quiet student in the class.
Someone looked at the police officer and says, here is law enforcement at its worst. Clearly attacking, abusing power and influence. And then there are others.
Right, so I think that's the average there. So it's like just 30 odd percent,
enforcing a law
right?
that made it a crime to quote
So
disturb schools in any way.
30 odd percent.
Any disturbance.
You get a room, you go into a boozer, and there's 10 people in there. Only 3 of them are fucking voting. Then they're probably voting for every fucking lunatic in the asylum. The fucking raving lunatic party. The fucking, I heard it's a stupid party. The fucking animal welfare party or something. Aye, there's human beings dying in the world and you want to go and protect the fucking dogs, you fucking dumb fucks.
Generals were involved in terror attacks against Russia, and that nearly 7,000 of the alliance's troops are on the ground in Ukraine. Strange bedfellows. Reports claim American troops have been ordered to be combat ready after Russian forces were said to have been deployed to the same base they're currently stationed at in Niger, and that's as the African nation seeks to end Washington's military presence in the country. India sweeps aside President Biden's claims that the country is closed shop to immigrants, saying its openness is an example to the world. And with an increasing clampdown on pro-Palestinian demonstrations in the West, universities in the Middle East step in to offer places to any
Freedom, motherfuckers! They hate us for our freedom. Back on up and up. They hate us for our crack.
Hello there, welcome to RT International. I am Mike.
It's the Black Colonel Sanders. I love these fucking
Now, air
goatee, man.
defenses have intercepted 4 US-supplied long-range missiles over Crimea. That's according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Meanwhile, it's been alleged that NATO's played a key role in Kiev's attacks on areas inside of Russia and has thousands of boots on the ground in Ukraine. The claims are made in a report by a Russian non-governmental human rights watchdog. RT's Steve Sweeney has been picking through the details here.
Russian human rights activists claim to have evidence that top NATO officials
are personally and directly responsible for air and ground attacks on the heavily populated areas in Russia and Ukraine, along with the mass murder of civilians. According to the Foundation to Battle Injustice, NATO has had a presence in Ukraine since at least March 2022, with senior army officers involved in directing combat operations against Russia. An unnamed source within the Ukrainian army leaked the names to the Foundation of top NATO officers involved in what they described as systematic terror against civilians. And it revealed the true nature of their operations, striking Russian civilian targets.
According to a former high-ranking officer of the Ukrainian General Staff, who provided an exclusive comment to the Foundation on condition of anonymity, the U.S. made the decision to reshuffle the Ukrainian Armed Forces ranks already in the beginning of December 2023. The U.S. sent Lieutenant General Antonio Aguto to develop the strategy and tactics of combat operations of the Ukrainian military. In fact, he took Zaluzhny's place as commander of the Ukrainian army. General Aguto, in consultation with American General Cavoli, developed the concept of artillery and missile strikes against civilians in Belgorod region and in Ukraine.
The activist claimed that the US officer has essentially taken over as the shadow commander of the Ukrainian army after the sacking of Zaluzhny. Aguto was tasked with reinforcing the Ukrainian army and developing a hold and build strategy.
His mom must have been standing behind the camera like, smile, son.
The unnamed Ukrainian source told them that in reality, the US officer's role...
The unnamed Ukrainian source. See, when I hear unnamed Ukrainian source, I always think, I believe him. This is exactly what I thought I'd go to.
Were reluctant to strike civilian targets. It was Aguto that was the aggressor.
When the risks and possibilities of the attacks on Belgorod last December were being considered, many Ukrainian generals were cautious and hesitant to target civilians. However, American General Aguto insisted. He said exactly this: "Our mission is to wreak havoc. In war, there are no civilians and military. There is an enemy."
Another Western architect of the bloody provocations is named as retired Canadian Lieutenant General Trevor Cadieux, who has extensive combat experience in Afghanistan, Jordan, and Lebanon. According to the Foundation, he planned and executed a provocation in Mariupol in March 2022, which killed up to 600 people. A similar terrorist attack in Kramatorsk in April 2022 saw 60 people killed and many more wounded in a rocket attack on a train station. The aim was to blame Russia and rally Western support for Kiev, while motivating Ukrainians to sign up for the armed forces. He was reportedly behind the attack on the Mariupol drama theatre, one of the most controversial events of the conflict.
The Ukrainian security forces and army took measures to gather as many people as possible in one place.
Has won. So, like, everybody here is waking up. Tommy Robinson's on the rise. Tommy Robinson for mayor. Tommy Robinson for PM. This is just like seriously, what he's going to do, you can't get voted in. There's no chance he's getting voted in because you don't have popular support. Apart from in your own social media bubbles and piss-ups on the street. So, if he's genuinely want power, which like the crazy Tommy Robinson fans and cult members and people just doing that route want, it's going to have to be, these are going to have to do an armed uprising. That's what it's going to have to be. So there's a realisation, unless this is all just posturing and fucking lip service to sell books and grift, make dough and have wee days out and fucking make yourselves feel fucking special, this is something you would need to do. You can't get voted in. You don't have popular support. You're only legends in your own social media bubbles, which makes you think you're fucking king of the world when no cunt gives a flying fuck. Your average guy doesn't give a fuck. There's the fucking percentage of people actually turning out to give a shit show in politics. Just over 30%. Democracy scam, folks. How many house niggers do you need to fucking buy off to get yourself into power? Well, the Conservatives done it with buying off 12 million of the population last time, if my memory serves, because I broke down the figures. So, country, 66 million. You need to buy 12 million votes to get into power. Democracy scam. We are led by minorities who can buy popularity in a corrupt political system that allows every freak at the fucking every pig at the fucking trough. Even if you call yourself the raving fucking lunatic fucking party. Politics, people. Why think nobody fucking wants to take part in this? Pays attention? Gives a fuck? Feels any attachment? Because you've got every Fruit Loop at the fucking circus allowed a fucking voice. In fact, this was weird. I had some young guys agreeing with me last night when I was like that. A fucking democratically elected dictator. And I broke it down to them and was like, well, that's a dictator with a term. You know, you're King Dong for 4 years. Fucking there you go. Get rid of, you don't need to listen to the other freaks at the circus. You've got the majority. That's how I would fucking structure society. None of this fucking democracy pish. You know, voting can happen away from democracy scam. Anyway, let's run over.
As the West ups the ante with a seemingly
NATO shite, Russia's good. NATO shite, Russia's good. NATO shite, Russia's good. NATO shite, Russia's good.
Finally be slipping on what many have described as NATO's proxy war against Russia, as the West continues to operate with impunity. As the war crimes and attacks on civilians continue, will anyone be held
accountable? He's an English dude, isn't he? That's an English accent.
Right, former CIA
man, phone's
analyst
telling me
Larry
something.
Johnson believes that NATO has
Important
had Russia in its
Labour's
sights for
Andy
years.
Burham re-elected
NATO has
as
been enabling
Manchester.
this war for more than a decade. Annual military operations with Ukraine were clearly designed to prepare Ukraine for a war with Russia in which Ukraine would be the proxy. And that they'd use Ukraine as a battering ram to defeat Russia. That was the goal. So I think they're just acknowledging reality. The NATO forces, the West, they are blinded now by rage and hatred. They're not thinking this through logically. And we've got further example of that today, where now David Cameron outright calls for Ukraine to use British weapons to attack inside Russian territory. Well, you know, in the past, there was at least some effort to maintain a pretense that Ukraine was using weapons maybe of an unknown origin. But again, this is facilitating murder. The West is doing that. And I think they've mistaken Russia's patience on this with weakness.
Away from that now, it's been reported that U.S. troops on the ground in Niger Republic have been ordered to be combat ready. And that's after Russian forces were said to have been deployed to the same base that they are currently stationed at. The Kremlin spokesperson said that Moscow was developing relations with the African continent in all fields, including defense. Now, Niger recently ended a military agreement with Washington and ordered all U.S. troops to leave the country. It's estimated that there are currently around 1,000 soldiers stationed there, and their role had been to combat terrorism in the region, but the West African state complained that they've had little impact. The U.S. has had a military presence in Niger for 11 years, and the cooperation deal included the establishment of a drone base. Negotiations to withdraw the troops began last month, but the senior American lawmaker said that more immediately action has to be taken.
Mail, food, equipment, parts, medical supplies, etc. are being prevented from reaching Airbase 101. In May, critical medications will run out for individual service members. They have repeatedly reached out for assistance, but their strategic higher headquarters, such as Africa Command, routinely overlook their concerns and those of Airbase 101's higher chain of command, or simply do not provide relief or guidance for resolution. US Embassy in Niger is covering up the failure of their US diplomatic efforts in Niger.
Now, crowds gathered last month in the capital, Niamey, demanding the troops pack their bags and leave. People were seen waving Russian flags in a show of support for Moscow. We heard from an advisor to Niger's foreign minister about changing alliances in the region.
Remember, folks, it's not a world war.
Even if in
Just
Mali
keep
it was under the label
your
widely
McDonald's.
disseminated by the West of the Wagner militias. But still, the presence of the Russians in Mali accelerated the departure of all other foreign forces. I also imagine that it will be the same thing for the case of Niger, even if officially it has been announced to us that the American forces, the American and Nigerian authorities, are responsibly preparing the withdrawal, which is gradually continuing. It is clear that somewhere the presence of the Russian...
It's probably copyrighted up the asshole.
territory. Russia seems to be a little disappointed from a point of view at the continental level, mainly in the Sahel. Russia has a favorable response since it does not have a colonial past, because its support is much more pragmatic. We see it somewhat effective with the military equipment granted to these three countries. We recently received a radar system. This is why Russia has received more favorable feedback from the countries.
India has dismissed President Biden's sweeping remarks this week that the nation is xenophobic and unwelcoming to immigrants, which is why its economy is trailing in America's wake.
First of all, our economy is not faltering. Two, India's been a very unique country, I would say actually in the history of the world. That it's been a society which has been very open, different people from different societies, particularly people in trouble, have come to India. That's why we have the CAA, which is to open up doors for people who are in trouble. So I quite see the point. I think we should be open to people who have the need to come to India, who have a claim to come to India.
The foreign minister there was referring to the Indian Citizenship Amendment Act passed in 2019. It removed barriers from acquiring citizenship to all religious minorities from regional countries. But that news, it seems, never made it to Joe Biden's desk.
One of the reasons why our economy is growing is because of you and many others. Why? Because we welcome immigrants. Why is China stalling so badly economically? Why is Japan having trouble? Why is Russia? Why is India? Because they are xenophobic. They don't want immigrants. Immigrants are what...
Right, that's making sense. They're counting them as xenophobic. Look, it's the nutty professor.
We're perhaps also, and we're now expecting Sadiq Khan to improve his position compared with 2021.
If you were going to draw a caricature of a professor, he would be it, wouldn't it?
And that certainly incumbents who can use the position not only to project themselves, but also to advance the interests of their community, their part of England, because that, after all, at the end...
Right, I'm going to have to do the off, so I just wanted to do a quick one anywho. So the UK elections are coming in. The turnout, from the best I can gather at the moment, stay tuned, is just over 30%. So again, it's very easy to get into your head, go in the boozer, 10 people, only 3 people that are bothering their arse to vote. The rest of them couldn't give a flying shit. There's nothing out there to motivate people to go and do it. I heard on formerly Talk TV, and it's just a fucking glorified YouTube channel, one of the talking heads there talking about should voting be made mandatory. Fuck's sake, can you imagine that? That's actually getting discussed now. Getting discussed. And then you get the talking heads, the prime ministers and that, saying that we're not an authoritative state. Now vote, motherfucker, or you're dead. Alrighty, Bib Tribs, have a nice weekend. I'm going to go and watch Civil War on the big screen. with my ma, and I might even get a McDonald's. Get it? Got it. Good, thanks for tuning in. Thumbs it up and all that jazz, and tune in on Monday for another daily politics. Alrighty, BoobTube sketches.
Clips.
And remember, citizens, always subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well. And $19.95 plus shipping and handling will keep you out of hell.